All right, good morning, everyone. Mic check, mic check. Guys, let me know if you can hear me and if you can see the screen. Nick, what's good, man? And thank you for joining. So we got to get right to it. I had a little technical difficulty this morning, so I apologize for the tardiness. But I got it together, and we're gonna rock and roll. All right. So today there's no news, and technically because the government is shut down, we really won't have, the economic data pouring out on time, if you will, like we used to for the time being. So, being that there's no news today whatsoever, no economic news that was scheduled, this is a good time to, you know, trade the indices without potential crazy, catalysts. All right, with the news. So, I'm going to get right to that. Again, on the dollar, we didn't quite make it to the demand zone, but we did start to rise. And I can see that we're basically just hovering at this bit of a supply here. All right. And I'm going to get into the indices very quickly because that's what we're going to be focused on. We got about 15 minutes until the stock market opens. And I'm trying to see if we're going to be rebounding or if we're going to keep falling like we did last week. All right. So pull up your indice pairs, guys, NAS, SPY, and US 30. If you guys trade a broker that allows you to trade the minis, right? Mini SPY, mini NAS, and mini US 30, that'll be very good for you guys to trade. It costs less to get into, and it won't do too much damage to your account if you're wrong, right? It still makes you money now, so don't get it twisted, but it's better if you have a small account but you want to participate in trading the indices. So please check out with your broker to see if they offer you the indice minis to trade on. All right. So looking at this on a 15-minute time frame, I can refine this supply area to here. Okay, and we tapped right into it. All right, coming out the Asian session. Now again, Asian doesn't really kind of apply to the dollar index, but at the same token, it kind of does the same thing, right? So I can see we had a little bit of downtrend in here, and all of that was liquidity off that trend line, right? That we pretty much went and got, right? And we also filled the imbalance that was here, and we tapped into that supply absolutely to the T, and now we're starting to head down. All right, going to look at it deeper, and I do see we have this area that we broke, this low. All right, so we do have a change of character. All right, so we can get ready for the dollar to potentially fall here. All right, getting all the way to the 1 minute time frame. Okay, getting a good look at all of it. Very good details. I can see that here is our supply before we broke or changed structure to the downside. So I expect the dollar to kind of push up into this area. All right, and maybe this high or supply area as well, because there's a bit of a fair value gap here. So I'm just going to mark it all out. Okay, now again, if anybody's new and they don't even know, I know I'm going into trades that I'm looking to get into this morning, but if you guys don't even know anything about the basics of the setup, how we even get to this point, please let me know. I'll take some time to explain it to you and break it down. All right, but for right now, pretty much expecting the dollar to rise into these areas and then begin to fall, right? And if we look at it again, probably on the 15-minute time frame, okay, we can see that we're most likely going to get down to this demand area, right? Either one of these demand areas, both of them have imbalance, right? So we can get all the way to both, and maybe even further, like I mentioned in my watch list, down to this fair value gap. So right now, guys, our bias on the dollar is to have it or see it drop, all right, and making pretty much continuing its correction from its up move that it's had all from last week. All right, so there's the up move that it had, and now here's the retracement on the way. All right, one of the things I'm going to do is just place a Fibonacci level. All right, I'm going to go from this low to this high, and this is where it's telling us we're most likely going to get to, all right, in regards to that drop. But we can also feel this imbalance. Like sometimes what you'll notice, or at least what I'll notice, price will come down, right? It'll start to go up a little bit, but then it'll do a quick move, boom, to that fair value gap, and then you'll see a long wick as price comes back up and begins to take its rise. All right, so again, just right now, bearish on the dollar. All right, so I'll keep it on that 1 minute time frame so we can keep looking at what's happening in real time, or at least in a very short time frame, so we can bust a move when we need to. All right, so we got a nice bit of confirmation here for a structure change, all right, from up to down. All right, we got the trend line break, we got the break of the low, we got the imbalance with the fair value gap, all right, breaking that low. So we're just going to most likely get back into this confluence area, the supply with the trend line. We're going to tap into that, and then we're going to drop. All right, so let's get ready, because these indices are going to rock and roll in just about 10 minutes. All right, so starting off with SPY. All right, and we need to, so just looking at it from the higher time frame, you guys can see that we can still go and fill that imbalance, which is again exactly what I talked about on my weekly watch list. We were down here on Friday, and I said, hey, once the week begins, we're going to start to correct ourselves, and it's already done so. It gapped up, and now it's just slowly but surely trying to push its way up. So I'm going to go to that 15-minute time frame, okay, and just getting more details on everything that's going on, so we can make a play, most likely a buy, to get up to supply, all right, on SPY, all right, bars intended. Okay, so here we go, mapping out this fair value gap. All right, I'm gonna get rid of my little dotted stuff so we can really see. All right, boom. Right about there, and right about here. All right, so there is our fair value gap. Okay, now we didn't end up breaking a low right here. Okay, but in terms of the pullback, so we came up, we made a higher low, higher high, and now we just made a lower low with the potential of this to kind of keep going a little lower. And if you guys have been trying to make plays at exactly 9:30 and they haven't been working out, it's because, again, FOMO. All right, you think you're going to miss a move at the market open. Don't sweat that, guys. Just chill and wait for price to set up again later on that day, maybe the next day. You never know. But if you just wait for the setup, you'll be okay. All right. So just again, right now, I'm seeing that SPY could still head down just a little bit. All right. To fill this imbalance. So while we're expecting the dollar to fall, right, which would typically cause SPY to rise, right? That's not what SPY is giving us on the chart right now, right? It's telling us that it could still fall as the dollar falls. So we got to be very mindful of that, not to just try to buy when the chart is telling us that it wants to drop. All right, this is what we call reading market structure. And again, market structure is king over correlation, meaning I'm not just going to sell, I'm not just going to buy SPY just because the dollar looks like it's going to fall, right? I'm going to read what SPY is telling me. And if it's telling me that it doesn't want to rise, then that's what I'm going with. All right, that's what that means. Okay, so again, you can even see with the way that price is moving in this kind of diagonal way, it's kind of giving us a bit of a wedge, right? And typically that creates liquidity on both sides, okay, with that wedge, okay. All right, so there you have it, right? So a nice little wedge. And again, we're already in this supply area. Okay, so we may just get a nice drop here on SPY, which I might take because again, we got 5 minutes on the clock before it opens, right? So I can do something similar to this, right? About a 14 point, and then I'll go to fill the gap. That's 56 points. I got a 1 to 3. Might as well make it a 1 to 4. And boom. All right, well, come on. Boom, there it is. All right. All right, so I'm liking this on SPY at the moment. All right. Going to go and check the dollar. All right, dollar still looks like it's going to fall. All right. So yeah, let's take a look at NAS. All right, go high first. All right, guys, again, same exact thing, right? So we had that major drop last week, and then as the market opened, we gapped up pretty significantly, all right, to begin that correction. Now, again, we're close to the area that we broke, so this is why it can keep falling, right? It doesn't have to fill that gap on, one swift move up, right? It plays around, right? Comes here, drops a little bit, comes back up, taps that, and then drops some more, right? It's just the way the game goes. So getting down to the 1 hour time frame, all right? And again, kind of got, am I still on it? All right, I lost myself. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, I mean, it's giving the same. So I was on the 1 minute, I wanted the 1 hour. That's why. All right, so yeah, so now I can see structure a little better. Gonna go ahead and put that gap in. All right, so we got the gap. And yeah, I mean, as we're rising, we just kind of created this, what we call lower high, right? It's a bit of a swing because price came up and now it's starting to at least look like it's going to come down. So again, guys, it doesn't line up with the dollar falling, what the charts are showing me on the indices. So I'm not going to be extremely bullish just yet on this. Plus, we've already gotten a rise up. That's the other thing that you guys, always need to keep in mind, right? So since we kind of have a low from Friday and then we have this high, we can use Fibonacci, right, to determine how far back are you going to pull back before you continue to rise? And look, it's right in the fair value gap. So it's looking more opportune for us to take some potential selling opportunities. All right. Now, 2 minutes on the clock before the market opens. Now, we might get volatility and we might not. Again, there's no news to happen, but I do pretty much like what I'm seeing in terms of taking a sell because we're breaking some lows right to the downside, all right, on these indices, and we're doing it with a bit of imbalance with supply coming from this area. Okay, so again, position like this and a very tight stop above the wick, 74 points, taking it down to fill this fair value gap. We're looking at 381 points. Guys, I'm going to sell SPY and NAS right now. All right, there's my NAS sell. Okay, stop there. TP to the fair value gap. All right, going to SPY. Good morning, Ariel. All right. What are your feelings on the indices? And Nick, if you're trading indices, what are your feelings on it? All right, let me know. But here I'm getting into SPY. Now I am a little skeptical because we're at the support area where we can rise up. All right, now that would line up with the dollar falling. Okay, so again, it's just something that I have to make my bed, right? If I this is what I see, then it's what it is. All right, but there's some liquidity here. All right, so maybe I want to wait, all right, till it gets up to here, and then I will sell it. All right, so it's 9:30 now. The market is open. Okay, and let's just kind of take a look and see, what it says. All right, so everything's green. All right, everything in the NAS is up. Everything in US 30 is up. Right, they're all green. But that's because when the market did open from the week, it shot up to do the correction. All right, so that everything that you're seeing here, this 2.6%, let's put on the actual change. All right, and there you have it. So it went up 11 points on Tesla, blah blah blah. But on the indices, you can see SPY went up 125 points. NAS went up 650, 630 on US 30. Okay, 670 or whatever on US 30, and it's still kind of climbing right now. But guys, the way it is every time you see all of this in green, this is most likely your best time to sell, and vice versa. Whenever you see all of this in red, it's most likely your best time to buy. Do y'all remember what this looked like on Friday? Everything was red. And now look what it is on, Monday. Everything is green. Do you see what I'm saying? So please peep game with that. All right. That's a little tidbit that, again, most overlook, or you guys don't play it in the right way. You see green, you want to buy. You see red, you want to sell, when you should be doing the opposite. When you see red, you should want to buy. And when you see green, you should want to sell. All right. So, pretty happy that I waited for this because it did exactly what I expected. It bounced off the trend line and it's coming to grab this liquidity. So depending on how price reacts around this area, I'll probably get in for the sell. Let's check the dollar. All right, dollar's trying to push up into that supply before it potentially drops. All right, but we'll see. Okay, nice. Look how it rejects at that area, guys. Okay, just peep game on that. All right, let's check out that NAS play. All right, and quite frankly, we're almost in profit. All right, so if you guys like what you see, take advantage. All right, let me know if you need the numbers. All right, but NAS, we are in profit now. Okay, again, short on NAS. And if you're trading the regular NAS, not the NAS mini, right, you can pretty much consider this scalping right now, right, because we got on a very low time frame. So by the time we kind of break below here, you might want to go ahead and lock in your profits. That way you won't risk anything further, right? Or at least you minimize your risk, right? Going from a 74 point move to either break even or locking in a few points in profit. All right, but we're in profit. All right, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Right over to SPY, and yeah, that's looking like it's about to drop now. So again, just waiting for that sweep, right? I wanted to get above these wicks. Okay, it might not, right? I might miss out on this, but I wanted to get above those wicks, and then I'll be looking to short it. All right, guys, one of the things that you'll also notice, my bad, baby girl. Okay, one of the things that you guys will also notice over time is man, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, price will sweep liquidity first, right? You guys will get used to that. You'll be like, wait. I know I want to get into a sell. I know I want to get into a buy, but where's the liquidity, right? To the opposite side. So you want to sell. Where's the buy side liquidity? Has it been taken out? Yes or no? If yes, okay, then you probably got a good chance of price going in your direction, right, for the sell. Vice versa. If you're looking for a buy, right, you're looking for where's the sell side liquidity. Has it been taken out? Yes or no? If it has, okay, you got a good opportunity to buy it, or you got a good chance of price going in your direction for the buy. But if it has not been taken out, then you need to wait, right? Again, I'll teach you guys exactly where your patience needs to come in, right, and why, right? And when you get when it's like that, then you know it's lights out, right? Look, I could have took it right from here, right? But I still haven't gotten the sweep yet. So again, it's just a waiting game, but I might miss out because it looked like it's doing its thing right now, right? And dollar not doing much, right? But the indices are definitely dropping, okay? And they're going to fill that imbalance, which I want to show you guys, you know, as we gapped up, right, to start the retracement back to the supply, notice how it didn't really get to the supply. You understand what I'm saying? Because it knew that it did not, like when it gapped up, it knew that this imbalance needed to be balanced. So it's most likely going to, where's my tool? All right. It's going to fill the imbalance and then start to come up, break above this high, give us a nice little pullback again. All right. So it didn't go right. Hold on. All right. So we're going to get this, then this, then this, then this, then this, then this. All right. And you're going to see that nice retracement, right? And then we're going to get this and this, sweeping that, then come and break this low, then come back like this, and then boom. All right. So guys, take a look at that. I know it's a little wonky, right? But hopefully you guys can make out the prediction, right? So this is exactly what I'm expecting. Price to hit this fair value gap, start its rise on up, get back to supply, right? Give us a higher low, give us a higher high, right? Sweeping the liquidity behind these equal highs, right? Sweep that, come on down, break that low. When it breaks this low, okay, right here, when it breaks below here, like it does right here, this is where you're looking to get in, guys. Can you see how the drop is right after that? So all of this is a waiting game, right? And that's where traders just they can't do it, right? They can have a, you know, they can go through life with all this stresses and difficult things, but you know, something as simple as waiting, they can't do it, right? It's like women and accountability, right? They just can't do it. All right. So, you know, this is what you got to have, guys. You got to have that patience and you got to be able to wait for the market to give you what it needs for you to succeed. All right. So that's my outlook right now on these indices. All right. Getting back down to that lower time frame. All right. And now I'm getting myself an opportunity to get in for this sell. All right, because we got a nice imbalance here that broke this low. So I'm just going to readjust to kind of show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. All right, I'm going to get rid of some of this so it's not too bloggy. All right, bring this on over. All right, and I'll get rid of this right now and this. All right, basically we broke this low. Okay, and we broke it with imbalance. Okay, what do you keep talking about imbalance, man? 1, 2, 3, 3 candles, and again 1, 2, 3, 3 candles that created a gap. All right, so I'll mark out the gaps with my tool. Kaboom, there's one of the gaps. Look how it's rejecting it right now. So I very well may take the sell right now, but I'm still a little bit worried about the liquidity sitting behind here. Now I can go about that two ways, right? I can take the sell, keep me a tight stop like this, right? Just to try to take advantage of a very nice risk to reward, or I can take the sell while it's down here now, and then I can position myself, right, to not be affected by the sweep. And that's just the 18-point stop. But I like what this is giving me with that rejection, guys. So I'm going to take the sell right now. All right. And I'm going to place my stop above where I think we're going to get a potential liquidity sweep. All right. Okay. Take profit, coming to the fair value gap. Okay. And coming back, looking at it, we're going to get, okay, we're in profit, by the way. We're going to get 600, wish, 100, no, wait. So yeah, 630 points. Wow. Easy money. Okay. And then 182 on the stop loss, right? I'm tripping. 18 on the stop loss and 64 on the take profit. Either way, we're in profit on SPY, guys. So again, I'm, trying to break this down, how easy this was. Okay, now there's another, strategy that we go by when there's no news, right? And that is marking the high of 930, right? The highest price went to at 930, which is basically where you see, this particular candle, right? It's right here, right? Because after 930, this is how high it pushed so far, right? And then we'll mark where 1030 is, right? The lowest point that price went to at 1030. So right around here, right? When it gets here, we'll mark that high, we'll mark that low, and then we'll see which one gets broken, right? So let me say that again. A strategy that you guys can use for the indices when there is no news is marking the high of the highest point that price went to on SPY, NAS, or US 30 at 930, the highest point, right? And that's with the wicks, right? And then on when price gets to 1030, or when we get to 1030, you mark the lowest that price is going to, right, at 1030. Okay, you mark the high and the low between 930 and 1030. If the low gets broken, right, meaning a candle body below the lowest point at 1030, right, that pretty much tells you price is going to go down. Now there's more to it, but as long as you keep your stop loss above whatever the high was at 930, you're going to be good, right? You should be good. It's like an 88%, 90% chance that you're going to, that trade is going to continue going down, and vice versa. If price breaks above the 930 high, right, the highest point has been at 930, right, with a candle body above the wick, above the highest point, right, then there's that's telling you that the low, right, that 1030 low is going to stay the low for the rest of the day, and price won't get below that, right? So you'll be looking for your buying opportunities. So it's really simple, guys. 930 to 1030, mark the high, mark the low, see if the high gets broken. If it does, that means the low, it's not going to get any lower. You want to look for buying opportunities. See if the low gets broken. If the low gets broken, that means the high is the high of the day, and that's not going to get broken. So look for your sell opportunities, right? And there's ways to go about that to time it right and, make it happen. But, that's something that, we'll have to kind of go over, after the 1030 time frame, so you guys can see exactly, what that looks like. Maybe one of these days I'll be able to, be on during that time and really show you guys what that strategy is like. But it's going to be tough because we have a lot of economic news still coming, even though we're delayed with the government shutdown, once things, because there's going to be a lot of pressure. They're probably going to, end the shutdown sooner than later. Hopefully, let's hope so. And shout out to, all my government workers who, having a difficult time right now. You know what I mean? My heart goes out to you guys. Hopefully, this clown, will turn it around and end it sooner than later. All right. But yeah, guys, sometime we'll try to get that going. All right. And now, as you can see, right, on SPY, so it looks like it's coming to hunt, right? And again, I could have waited, right? And it only took me a few minutes of talking for it to kind of get back to the area that I believed it could have gone to, right here before it broke, right? It was getting there like when it came here, but then it rejected and started coming down. So this tells me, again, this is a significant area where every time you see price get up to this area, it starts to reject. All right. Is that the 1 minute or the 1 hour? Oh, my bad. My bad. I ain't see it. I ain't see it. All right. Yeah, it's the 1 minute. All right. So again, I'm seeing still possibility of us just kind of pushing above here just to wait this out and then go down. And again, hopefully, I've got my stop loss far enough to survive that. All right, let's see what the dollar is doing. All right, dollar has pushed up into that supply. So technically, we don't really have to go here, right? We can because, again, there's imbalance. So if they want to balance out, right, and take other people's money to fuel their position down, right, they can do that. Okay, but so far, right, we're just rejecting the first supply area. All right. And yeah, so now again, we may just go, right? But this is all time telling. All right. So let's look at NAS. NAS, we're still in profit, and we got some nice movement where we started breaking more lows. All right. So that's looking good. All right. Push it over right about here. Okay. And let me get rid of this. Let's make this a little cleaner so guys won't hurt your eyes. All right. Let me see. Are those my... Can't remember what those were. Okay, those are my support levels. All right. But coming back down to the 5 minute. All right. And because we got that break of that low with imbalance, all right, I'm going to push this out the way. But I'm going to map our imbalance, which is right here. Okay. And that's pretty much all she wrote, guys. I mean, here's where the supply is, so I can kind of, do one of these numbers now. All right, just about there. Okay, and our position is still good. All right, we got some equal lows, so there's more liquidity to go and get on top of a little bit imbalance here to the left, more equal lows. Let me map all of this out for you guys so you can see what I'm saying. Okay, we got liquidity there. We got liquidity here. Okay, and we have imbalance right there. All right, basically what that means, guys, is that's where the money's sitting. All right, so I'm in a sell to go and get this money, that money, and this money. All right, and then also all of the money sitting here, all right, to the downside on that huge imbalance. All right, again, may not play out, right? We can always look at it that way, but what if it does? What if it plays out, right? We took advantage of it with a very small risk on an indice like NAS, right, which doesn't play around, right? It pays, but at the same token, just getting away with a 74-point stop is insane, right? It's unheard of, if you will. Okay, so I'll take that opportunity each and every time, right, based on my analysts. All right, if I feel like this is what it is, then I take it and I lay in my bed, right? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, right? Go on to the next, look for the next opportunity, right? Don't have a pity party for yourself, right? Don't give up trading all of a sudden, right? Don't do those things. Okay. Let's get to the 2 hour one more time. Not 2K. All right. All right, boom. So you can see what's going on there. And then for SPY, same thing. We're not quite in profit yet. It's pushing up a little bit, But now I want to see the dollar. Look at that, right? Tap that supply, and now it's going to fly. So we need to look at our majors right now, right? Because we're in the New York session. The stock market is open, and things should be flowing. Now you see, when you look at this change and you look at the percentage of the change, and this is again the change from yesterday, right? So we're up on New Zealand, we're down on pound, we're up, down on euro from yesterday. All right, that's what that's all about. This gives you the pips, and this just gives you the percentage. So the way you'll read it, oh, odd dollar is up 0.54% from yesterday's close, right? And it sounds like you're professional, right? But it's simple, right? It's just that's how they have to deliver it to you to make it seem like it's something more than what it is, which is just, simple up or down, and how much up or down, right? So again, 0.56% from yesterday. That means it's up 36 pips from where it was yesterday. So if I just look right here where price is, and then I go down, well, what do you know? 36 pips, right? And that's where it was when the week ended. So it's up 36 pips currently from where it closed yesterday. Guys, I really hope that made sense. If it did, please hit that like and subscribe button for your boy. And again, tap in forexwithbain.com. Jump in the Discord. I will break this down and you guys will get to it. All right. So there we have it, right? We're starting to rise, because we had that major fall from Thursday and Friday of last week. Mainly Friday is when it did what it did. All right, but because the dollar looks like it's potentially going to fall here, and again we'll look at it on the 5-minute, right? So you can see the room that we have to head down, all right, to those demand areas, right? There's liquidity here with these equal lows. Okay, so again, you guys are learning, right? Tell you guys about those liquidity areas here again. Damn, Bain, now that you pointed it out, I'm seeing equal lows and equal highs everywhere. Great. Okay, great. All right, you're going to start to see something. All right, and it's going to be beautiful. All right, so again, dollar's getting ready to head down. So which one of these looks like the best opportunity to buy on our majors, right? Let's see. This doesn't look too good to buy, because again, we already went up 36 pips. And again, I can see it rising, but it has a little bit of imbalance. I'll get rid of this so you guys can see. It has a little bit of imbalance right here, so we can still kind of drop down before we rise. So I don't really like odd dollar right now for the buy. I'm going to go down to euro dollar. And now euro dollar looks more enticing, because it has liquidity here, and a supply area. And you guys can see, and hopefully if you watch the watch list, I told you guys that we're going to have that rise up before we have that major drop. Because again, with the dollar, we're looking to rise on the dollar, but we're just completing more of the retracement on it so far. All right, so again, you see that we rose, right? All of this is just going to start to be the retracement, right? We could get to these levels and rise. We could get to the fair value gap and rise. So as it's falling, we do want to look for our buying opportunities on the non-dollar based pairs. But once it gets to these areas, either here or here, we want to, or we should expect the dollar to start going up, which is when we want to start selling the non-dollar based pairs. All right, but for right now, euro looks good for a buy. Pound dollar doesn't, because again, it's got a lot of imbalance, and it needs to, I would prefer for it to get into that imbalance before I take it for the buy. But this is already, so I'm going to lock in profits now. Just close this out from Friday, right? We bought it Friday from the low, right? And you see how that goes. We bought it from the low, and boom, it pushed up with the imbalance. It gave us our money, right? Consolidated. Now it's starting to wick like it wants to go down off of this trend line, which it most likely will, to fill this imbalance. I'll map it out. All right. Okay, so again, just kind of expecting pound to go down and then get up to these supply areas. All right, so that may be the play once it gets, down in those areas. All right, over to the dollar one more time. We're going to get to the 5. All right, and just keeping an eye on it for right now. All right, and then Let me see, New Zealand dollar. All right, New Zealand dollar looks best for the buy. All right, getting equal lows, double bottom, coming from a nice downtrend. All right, we swept liquidity here, right? We came down with imbalance. We kind of feel that imbalance just a little bit. There's a little supply area that we really haven't really kind of tapped into. All right. And then there's another supply area here that we have not tapped into. All right, there's supply everywhere. Okay, so if you got supply, you need demand. All right, street rules 101. Okay, but now we're gonna head down to the lower time frame, get to that 15-minute, and let's read what we need to read to succeed. Okay. Right, out that Asian session, we did not take out the low and we didn't take out the high. Okay, so we're still in this little bit of price action that we see. We're still kind of in a bit of a downtrend, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. So we can still kind of respect this area and fall to take out the low of the Asian session, which is where equal lows are sitting once again. So if you guys don't learn anything today, you guys should learn about equal lows and there being liquidity behind those areas, right? These are where people have bought, put their stop losses. These are also where people have said, okay, here's a support level. So if price breaks below it, I want to sell it. So they'll have a sell stop. So stop losses for people going long that probably made money, but now they're losing it. All right. And then sell stops for people who believe that New Zealand dollar will continue falling when it breaks these lows. Therefore, you guys have liquidity sitting all in this area, aka money. All right. I think the term liquidity kind of throws people off because they're like, what the hell? What the hell does that mean? Right? So boom, bam. All right, just money. Okay. Cleaning this up, and we're not quite ready for the buy because we're still in downtrend structure. We want to see a change of structure from down to up, right? Before we start to get into that buying opportunity. Okay. Now, I'm going to get rid of this for right now. It's just a lot going on. All right. And quite frankly, we got a few things that we can look at. Potential trend line break here. Okay. Could give us an early indication. Okay. And then again, looking at our liquidity. Okay. And let me see. Yeah, so a little bit of a wedge right there. Okay. Just a little bit. All right, so that's how we're looking on New Zealand dollar. So I'm expecting a sweep of the Asian low. Then I'm expecting price to come up and break this high or maybe even this high, right? When it does that, that's good. Now it's telling me that it wants to go up. So all I got to do is one more time, wait for price to get to one of these key areas, wait again for it to show me some bulls. I think we lost SPY. All right. And then it'll take off and do what it needs to do. So it's not quite ready yet, guys. And that's how that goes. All right. So again, just a lot of waiting. Okay. Let's look at euro dollar one more time. All right, there's euro dollar. So euro dollar came out the Asian session. It did break the low of the Asian session, right? Sweeping that liquidity. It filled the imbalance at this demand area. So now we may be ready to rock and roll on Euro USD. All right, don't really quite see any more imbalance. This is looking pretty decent. 5 minute. All right, we got what we need. Okay, here is a high that broke this low. Okay, so we ended up breaking it. Just, you can take it here or here for the break, but we broke it. Okay, and then we pushed back up to where we're just breaking above that high right now. Okay, so this is our confirmation that price wants to continue rising. All we need to do is find our point of interest, right? So this is imbalance that got filled. This is a little bit of liquidity, but I don't think we're gonna go and do anything with that right now. I think it's ready just right now. Let me get to the 1 minute, just get more details. All right, and we can fill in all those tiny gaps. All right, now we can see, all right, bit of a fair value gap right here. Okay, and we got another fair value gap just sitting here. So I like a position on Euro USD from this fair value gap. Okay, actually, so long position. So I'll put it right above the fair value gap, and then I'll put it right below these wicks. Guys, I don't even think that's a 2-pip stop loss. I think that's a pip. All right, yep, 157. It's 2 pips, guys. 157. I'm sorry, 1570, and then 1568. That's just about 2 pips, guys. All right, so we are at the top of the hour. I'm gonna go ahead and put a buy limit here. Come on now, stop acting up. All right, maybe it's because I'm too low. Yep, there it is. All right, so buy limit is set, and now I'm gonna go and go back down to that 1 minute time frame so I can place that stop loss super tight. Well, I'm gonna put it lower because that's just insane to kind of get away with. Oh yeah, see a little bit of fair value got right here. So maybe, I like it still. All right, because then yeah, that's still like roughly only 10 pips. We'll just make it even. Boom, that's 10 pips. All right, I like that. Okay, and then get to like the 15 minute. All right, and we'll aim for all of that liquidity, guys. Again, you can just take it to this one, take your money, right? But I'm going for the gusto because, that's what I do. All right, up to supply, and I'm looking to make, all right, 127 pips, right, on that move up. All right, but again, we can probably get 60 to 70 maybe to this first liquidity area. All right, but it put in 2 buy limit orders. Let me see. All right, there's the real one. All right, so here, let's just put it to liquidity, and that's still about 120 some odd pips. Yep, 112. All right, with a 10 pip stop loss. Insane, guys. All right, your risk to reward is 1 to 11. So if you risk $1,000, you'll make $11,000. Plain and simple. All right, looking at it again on that 1 minute time frame, just to see, what we got. All right, and this may take off without getting our buy limit activated. So maybe you guys want to put in a buy position now, right? So I'll just buy it now. Okay, and then I'll place my stop again, just about 10 to 15 pips away, and take it up for the same TP, right? Get it all the way just about there. All right, and that's how we'll do it. Okay, let's get our long position to reflect our move, and boom, 100 pips, guys, easy on Euro USD with just about a 10 pip stop loss. Right, again, I do expect look, it already is about to get the buy limit order activated. Okay, look at how it rejected that fair value gap, guys. Y'all got it, man. I cannot make this up. Okay, can't make it up, guys, which is why I bought it, right? Just in case it didn't let it push, but it didn't quite activate the buy limit, right? So now it's pushing again. Maybe it'll do it this time. Regardless, guys, right? Another little fair value gap to the very low, and right here, right? Which is why, I placed our stop loss deeper than behind this fair value gap, because we got this one that it may also sneakily go and get. All right, so all right, whoop, there it is. We got into a buy on Euro USD. If you guys need the play or the numbers, please let me know. All right, okay, but it's looking good. All right, it's looking very, very good. I like it a lot. All right, dollar getting ready to drop. Okay, stretch this out. Okay, so we got our tap into supply, and now we're most likely going to die on dollar. All right, just again, completing or continuing the retracement, right, that it had from that major move up. All right, when we look at it on the higher time frames. All right, so boom, there it is. Right, major move up. Right, we're just starting to get the pullback. Right, to possibly this demand, maybe even this fair value gap. So if we get to this fair value gap, we're definitely getting hundreds of pips on Euro USD, potentially New Zealand dollar as well, when that does what it needs to do. All right, so you can see it's already trying to break above to give us a change, but again, I'm watching out for the sweep right before I buy New Zealand dollar. All right, but I bought Euro dollar and have a buy limit on it as well, just in case it wants to push a little deeper. Right, some of you guys may want to place your buy limit, all right, for Euro USD at this fair value gap. Right, so again, just you see how it got just right to the top. So I had put the buy limit near the middle of the fair value gap. So in this one, you might want to put it towards the top, right, because it's already overextending on the push down. And then again, give yourself a little wiggle room, right, on that stop loss. But putting the buy limit right above the fair value gap will probably get you wicked in. And I mean, you can get away with just absolute murder on this play. All right, we're in profit on Euro USD. Let's go take a look really quick at our indices, because I think we did lose SPY. All right, and there you go. All right, so again, 18 points loss. It is what it is. Okay, and now this lines up with the dollar rising. Okay, so as much as we may have wanted to go and fill this imbalance, maybe we won't go do it right now, right? You know what I mean? It's still a possibility, right? It's on the table, but right now we've just got a massive bullish candle up, and we may be just going to fill it. All right, on NAS. All right, so we lost NAS also. All right, and again, it's just what it is, right? I know, right? Wait. So you lost? Yeah, it happens, right? You know what I mean? It's real in the field, right? Everybody can't keep it 100 and show you losses, right? You know what I mean? Everybody can't probably even explain why it is that they lost, right? All of these things are a factor, but regardless, guys, you're going to lose, right? So if you're in this and you think that you're not going to take an L, well, you're not in the right place, all right? Because those L's are on the way, all right? But now things look more bullish for the indices, okay? To potentially, now we got the fair value gap in the opposite direction, okay? So right about here. Okay, and maybe that's where we want to go and take the buy position on up to supply, right? Same for SPY, right? It's gapped up, okay, giving us some imbalance, okay, right there, and kind of giving us a little break of structure right about there. Okay, so again, we may want to have a long position like this below the wick, okay, aiming up to supply. Now look, that's 100 points, and this is 17 points on the stop loss. So now if I take the buy and I win 100, but I lost 18 on the sell previously, then how much did I really net on this trade? And how much should I have been crying about my loss when it's a part of the game? You understand what I'm saying? So again, guys, don't beat yourself up on any loss, right? This is how you learn, and that's how you earn. If you never lost, you'll never know what the hell to do. So, or what not to do, if you will, right? Again, that's the muscle that it builds. So hopefully you guys are understanding that and will, you know, take that approach psychologically to your losses. All right. Yeah, guys. So for right now, dollar is trying to do its thing. All right. Still playing around, but definitely see the drop coming. All right. Euro USD, the most traded pair in Forex, is looking like the best opportunity at the moment for the buy. Okay. And it did activate our buy limit. So it did get a little deeper into that fair value gap. All right. Now, will it go and get the next one? That is yet to be known. We're seeing either way, we are prepared for it with the buy limit, and we're prepared with our stops below the swing so that it can come down, activate us, play around, right? Maybe even try to take out these lows. Okay. May try to take this out. All right. But if it does, we got it covered. All right. So again, guys, don't sleep on Euro USD for the buy. All right, to the upside. And then from there, guys, we'll be definitely looking to sell it from supply. That's going to be the real play. All right. Any questions, guys? Any comments? Any concerns whatsoever? Yep, oil is making its way back up. Gold swept the highs. All right, so that sell opportunity may be on the way, but it's not there yet. Okay. Bitcoin consolidating. All right, J's look like they're getting ready to rise a little bit more. Right, but looking for those sell opportunities, that's what's going to be best on those J's. Again, if you can take advantage of the retracement up, by all means, do your thing. But once it gets to these areas, we're heading for another big drop. JPY, again, just kind of dipping a little bit, but it needs to fill that imbalance. It'll do so at some point, probably the middle of the week. And then, we'll be right back looking for the drop on the JPY, where that'll give us, some rises on these J pairs. All right. But just a matter of waiting, guys. We just got the week going and things are starting to unfold. All right. But they're looking good. All right. So this morning, focus on Euro USD for the buy. All right. And maybe one of these non-dollar based pairs for the sell. All right. So definitely see a potential drop here on dollar CHF. All right. So I got the buy limit for when it actually drops down to this demand to go up. But right now you can take a short position down. Okay. To that demand level, right? And look, right here is really all we need, 132 pips. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right. That's about a 30, 40 pip stop loss, looks like. Oh, yep, 30 pips or 28 pips, so 30 pips roughly on dollar CHF. Again, if you need the numbers, guys, let me know and I will give it to you. Okay, I'm going to sell USD CHF. I'm going to buy on Euro USD. We lost SPY and NAS with a very tight stop, and these may be beginning to rise. So we may want to go ahead and take those buys up to supply. All right, especially now that the dollar is looking bearish. This lines up with the indices going bullish. 413 possible points on NAS for that buy, and then 100 points possible on SPY for the buy. All right, if we do the same with US 30 from where it is, we can probably catch 500 to 600 points on that. All right, I do like NAS right now. Let me see. Okay, balance. A little imbalance, but let me see. Was it SPY? All right, yeah, SPY looks better. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hop on in. Right, it's close enough to the FVG for me. I'm behind here. And again, I still can wait for that 1030 strategy, right? But that may take a long time. I'm just taking my chances right now. Again, just 23 points on the stop loss for SPY. Nothing major, all right? But TP is 100 points, all right? That is something, okay? Again, guys, this is where we at this morning. Euro USD for the buy, USD CHF for the sell. Hop back in SPY for the buy, and most likely we'll get into NAS just a little bit later, all right? But please understand, you know, this is, game of patience, okay? So don't try to hit a home run, right, every single time, right? You get in, it's not going to move the way you want it to sometimes, and sometimes it won't play out right the way that you want it to, right? So don't get your hopes and your dreams and everything all mixed up in between. Just keep a consistency, right, to your strategy, right? And no matter the outcome, right, just keep rolling with it. All right, but guys, in the meantime, in between time, I hope y'all have a great morning, and I will see y'all tomorrow morning, same time, same place. All right, it's your boy. I'm out. Peace.